I think it's quite hard as well. Like, earlier when I was three betting quite a lot, just quite big.
Yeah.
Some of them you are going to pick spots that might not be the best, but even that one, it needs to work 50% of the time. Like, I think when I used to not go that deep in tournaments, it was just not being aggressive enough.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the big benefits to going for squeezes rather than straight up three bets is you don't really need to make it bigger, but your required success rate, the break-even success rate, is so much lower because of that extra money in the pot, right?
Yeah, like 50%, is not that high against, those two, even if he's not flatting that light. But, some are going to go wrong. So I think even when you see like aces and kings, you can't just, stop. Except that some might go a bit wrong.
Yeah.
Silly.
Yeah. If you guys are never willing to put yourself out there and take a chance, you're not going to get the goodness.
Especially in like the million where, you get like $600 for a top 100 or something, but then $200K for the first.
Yeah. Yeah, once you get that min cash, it's really about going for it, like lasting so... I don't know the word I'm looking for, but I want to say insignificant, but I feel like I could use a better word than that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Someone in the chat will throw out something good, and then I could just read it off and look like a genius.
Someone has a vocabulary.
Yeah.
Like that, anyone. Are we up to the ace-9?
Yeah. I just thought we went all in, and I just kept going because I thought it's not that different from us jamming with ace king in the same spot like a few orbits later. It's just the guy's opening wide enough. We're increasing our stack 20-25%, and our hand is definitely strong enough that we're just ready to rock and roll. Now, if we had like ace-6, you guys probably wouldn't have ripped 20 bigs though, right?
I don't think it's that different. He's not going to be calling off with ace-8 or anything.
But the pocket pairs he's going to call you with.
Yeah, but it's like he might not always because it's still, still a pretty big shove, and it's just, ace-6 and ace-9. The only difference would be 7s and 8s, which
6s.
Yeah, and 6s.
Yeah, 6s.
But okay, there's only 3 combos of 6s.
Yep, 6s.
He was opening so wide on the button. I expect him to. I think a6 is still profitable.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to tend to agree with Evan. Maybe not a6, but I think there is going to be a line somewhere about what's profitable and not profitable between ace deuce and ace 6 somewhere. Like we don't know exactly, but it is one of the situations where we definitely want to be taking high variance spots because this is where we need to build a big stack in a weaker field tournament because then we can start putting big pressure on the people that care a lot about the money jumps.
Yeah. Oh, I found the ace-9 suited hand you guys were talking about where we make 2 pair. Ace-9 of spades.
Oh, yep, okay, let's talk about the other one, but yeah, that's cool. We got that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, he checked the turn. What's he done?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can even blame this on multi-tabling because I think this was at the stage I might not have been, but...
Yo, Ben, you gotta get that money, man.
Yeah, I should be betting the turn.
Yeah, you should be betting the turn.
Just like 25K or something.
Yeah, you gotta get that money and bring it home soon so we can all cruise to Cancun. Alright? No checks. Value bets. By the way, have you guys planned what your celebratory thing is gonna be? Is there another Amsterdam in the works?
It's not Amsterdam. We're having a party in London on a yacht.
When?
April. I'm not going to say exactly when, but I'll message you. So 1,000 people don't.
That's a good point because
you're welcome to come.
Because if I get the secret project completed by mid-April, I'm considering making a little visit over to Europe to see Tomasz, the mental game master, and maybe stop by and see you guys as well. So we'll see if the dates work out.
I mean, I don't have a home at the moment, but you're always welcome to stay in my hotel room.
I do like your mansion of a hotel room.
Okay, cool.
Castle. There's no known hold cards. He folds to the 4-bet. Alright. Nice chip up. No fanciness with the queens. Just dead that 50% chip up in the middle. And on we go. I always think that we're going to play a lot of hands at this stage in the tournament in the replays, and then I remember that, like, no. Unless we have tons of chips at this stage of the tournament, it's just about navigating through the minefields and surviving and taking down lots of pots pre-flop with no showdown, occasionally racing.
I think once we get to a 30 to 40 big blind stack, we can try and make sure we take the lower variance things and just put pressure on people with steals. Yeah. Because that's when we can start pushing people around, and we don't need to just be taking a 60-40 or anything.
Yeah, I agree. And that's one of the reasons you play so aggro out the gate when you play, right? Is so that you can build up that stack and then be in a position later to pick and choose.
Yeah, as long as you're the kind of person that knows that you will put a lot of pressure on people, then it's fine to make a few supposedly spewy plays early on.
Yeah. So I remember when I watched you in like the 5K and stuff, I'm like, yeah, he's relentless. Like, he never stops. And then like some of your Busto hands, I'm like, dude, why'd you do that? And you're just thinking to yourself, buddy, you have no idea what would have happened if I got those chips. It's like, all right, true.
Would have skewed them off instantly.
Yeah, I would have kept on going and never changed gears. Speaking of which, nice squeeze with the ace-5. Let's talk about what you thought their hands kind of looked like. And what are their stack size here? 30 and 40 big blinds, and we have about a 27 big blind stack. This is an interesting 3-bet with the ace-5, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, major, like, again, we have hands in him from before, and he'd been opening light on this table, like, really light, late on, and I think with his stack size, 30 bigs, that it's, if it's 45 or something, RFL is going to be flatting more value hands, but for 30 bigs, like, anything he wants to get in against us, like, he's going to be 3-betting a lot of his hands against major just to get in.
Yeah. And I think there's something quite interesting to say that if we and the big blinds were on between 15 and 20 big blinds, then we could expect our FLX to be flat at kings and aces a lot more often. But we don't look like we have the kind of downs reach up stacks of 15, 20 bigs. So I don't think he'd expect us to shove that wide. So I don't think he's going to be flatting, especially kings where it's a bit more vulnerable than aces. So he may be flatting aces, but we do block that, so it's half as likely that he can have that. And I think it's just a really good squeeze spot, and we make it a size that he can't 4-bet bluff us. Make himself shove, so I really like him.
Boom. Got him. On we go. I'm behind you guys. I gotta catch up. Ace-8. Win. Queen-2. Fold. Force. Win. 4-2. No. 7-8. No. 9-4. No. 3-4. I know we're not there yet, but Ben, how excited were you when you crossed the 500K mark in the million? I always feel like that's a really significant amount of chips in this thing.
Yeah, I think I got to. I think my biggest stack before was around 1 million, so I think that was the line that I was excited once I crossed, and had the biggest stack I've ever had in it.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
There'll be a few spots like this that might look bad.
Explain why it's not bad, and then they won't bug you anymore.
I think once we see his hand, obviously, I think I got it slightly wrong.
We don't know his hand yet. We don't know. Just break it down before we see his hand, and then we'll.
Okay. I think off his stack size, a lot of the hands that he wants to get in, he'll just be shoving. All his pocket pairs and stuff. He won't want the big blind to defend if he's just got ace-5 and stuff. He'll just be shoving them. So I assume that when he min-raised, it was quite polarized to just steals and then his nut value hands, and he was quite loose still, and I just thought he'd be folding a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then if he does call with ace queen, ace jack, and queens and jacks and stuff, we still have 30%. I still think it's fine.
So we're risking about 150, 160 to win 43 if he folds, and then if he calls, we're risking 160 to win 350. and then you're just comparing. You just take the formula, right? You see how often he folds, and we get the 43, and then you plug in our equity when he does call, and the other one, and 35%. So like 35% of the time we're winning the 350. And the interesting thing is, if you think when you get called you're gonna have like 45% equity or more, then you're pretty much good to go for like reshoves for like any amount, because there's going to be the overlay from the blinds and antes, which is generally going to justify the gamble. Not saying like go balls to the wall with it, but like if your equity is going to be high when called, you're making money.
Yeah, I actually, even though he turns up with a hand that we wouldn't put in his range, I completely agree with the shove. It's one of the ones that I wouldn't have made myself, but it happened quite a lot in these kind of tournaments that Ben he'd be pressing me to talk about them, and the more we talk about it, the more it does come clear that he's just going to be folding so much. And although he does turn up with ace-10, I think from his position he should just be shoving the ace-10 pre-flop, because he doesn't want to take these high variance spots.
Yeah, look at his equity on the turn. What's he thinking?
What a fish. King 6 is just a hand, not so often. But it looks really bad, especially when he does call with a hand. I fully support the decision.
Full house, nut full house too. I guess my timing with that 500K question was pretty on point.
Yeah.
Just folding, just chilling. Y'all know how to respect the early position. Take the foot off the gas for just a minute. He's even capable of folding pocket pairs, but he plays Jack 7 off?
So multifaceted, this guy.
Wow.
What a player.
The ladies are going to love him. Skills in the bedroom and on the streets. Doesn't get much better than that. Whoa! Charlie, what do you think?
What am I thinking about?
6-1 with a suited hand, queen high.
What? Which one?
Queen 2 of hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, the queen deuce.
It was. I think I'd be a lot more inclined to defend if Stuffmaster wasn't so short.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought when he's min raising that, it's not late enough. Like when we shoved the king 6, and then min raise on a short stack. He's going to have a lot of steals as well. But I think when he's just min raising off that stack, I thought it was going to be like nutted hands a lot, like queens plus, and less steals.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't defend.
That's cool.
I'm still okay with it.
That's cool. Dude, full house.
And the guy turns up with 5-4.
Yeah, if it came all red ones. Man. Alright, you waited for ace king, and you're up against... Yeah, that's not exciting at all. Oh, but you got a free roll? Nah, you don't have anything. Alright. Well, we're likely to be raising there it is, 500K chip hype.
Got him.
And, not only 500K chip hype, hand 420 hype.
Ooh.
Yeah. I realized something great about the stream starting at 4:30, guys. It gives all the 420ers time to actually finish what they got to do before the stream starts. 10 minutes is generally enough for that kind of thing.
So good.
So we got an oversized raise here with the king 5. We're really just letting these guys in the blinds know that, whether this guy's 80% Colombian, 100% Colombian, 20% Colombian, we don't give a shit. If he goes all in, we're going to call. That's why we make it 3.5x there. And it definitely discourages the button from doing anything.
Yeah, I agree.
Monster. Also, it's interesting, if he defends by flatting, we're still going to get equal odds on our c-bet in terms of how often it needs to work to make us chips, but we get to be c-betting into a larger sized pot. So if we're getting higher than the required success rate, we're doing that and winning a bigger pot by raising bigger pre-flop rather than raising the minimum, which is kind of interesting if his defending range would be similar in terms of its construction and makeup.
Yeah, I agree.
I never thought of that before. That's why I like doing these two-way discussions. Thoughts just like come.
Yeah, they pop up everywhere. Yeah. You see other people's plays.
This is interesting. I dig it, but people will probably be confused about it. Let's hear Ben's reasons and thoughts for this check raise with Ace King of Clubs on the 10-8-7 flop.
Yeah, he's going to be like stabbing just insanely wide here, and if we, because of his stack size, we don't need to check raise that massive. So I think the sizing we took, it needs to work like 40% of the time. And he's just going to be stabbing so, all like ace jacks and like if we see bet, ace jack and king jack will just float a lot of the time if we see bet small. But, they'll all stab, and even like deuces and stuff will just stab to try and fold us off hands like we have. So I think it just works easily enough. Tom?
No, I think it's definitely the best line to take post flop because, yeah, like Ben said, it looks like one of the boards that we're just going to be check folding on because it looks like it hits his range decent enough. But the thing is, when it does hit his range, it doesn't hit it hard enough of the time for him to get it in loads. So yeah. he can flop a gut shot or just like 2 overs and a gut shot or something like that, like with queen jack or with king jack. But that is not enough for him to get it in. But it is enough for him to float. So we don't want to be double barreling this kind of board because sometimes we are running into a big hand. But I think by check raising, we're getting value out of his air and out of his hands that would be floating as well. So I think it's so much better than c-betting. Or just, I think, in order, I would go check raising is better, check folding is second best, and c-betting is third best.
Yeah, I agree. I love how you Brits say loads.
Loads.
The Aussies say heaps. Or no, I think the Americans say heaps, the Aussies say piles, and you guys say loads.
Piles just doesn't have nice imagery.
No. King Queen, re-ISO. This is like some Dan Coleman kind of stuff. Just stack size. I want to take down the 142K in the middle. Tell them why you weren't scared, Ben. Why weren't you scared? That's a 420,000 chip hand. King Queen of Diamonds.
Squealing when he's making the shot, but he knows it's good, but he's terrified.
Yeah, I think it's just like what I was saying earlier that we are trying to win the tournament, and they were both regs, and I think he will be 3-betting, like 3-bet bluffing a lot, and with their stack size as well because they're both open quite wide. He can still be 3-betting like jacks and tens for value. So even when called off, we do have equity against his against the range that will call us off, and we block kings and queens. And it's just going to get through so often because those big stacks at this stage of the tournament, when there's like 100 or 200 left, they're just trying to put pressure on the smaller stacks or like the medium stacks. Right. So it's just going to work so often.
And it's like you said before, Evan, earlier, it's like king queen suited just has so much equity when still.
Yeah, even if they have queens, even if they have ace king, let's do it for fun. Let's just check the exact. I think against ace king, like we get kind of wrecked, but let's see. Let's see what king, queen.
Thing is, he also, when he's 3-betting for value, if he wants to call off, he can still have tens and jacks against Ecologe.
Yeah, so against the jacks or the tens, we have 46%, which is plenty, especially if we look at the overlay and the dead money that's in there. Against the hand that should have us in pretty bad shape, queens, we still have 35, which it's not 30. Ace king's the one I'm curious about. Yeah.
Ace king off 30, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 30, and like if we weren't suited and we had like king 10 or something, we'd only have 24. So like 3 out of 10 is a lot better than 1 out of 4. And then obviously aces, we're in pretty bad shape, but worst shape probably against kings. But we have a king, so the chance of him having those are pretty low.
And I think that is a situation where if you are 17 nifts BR, I think he will be flatting aces a lot given the stacks behind.
Yeah, I think it's also a spot where if we get to win a million chip pot 3 times out of 10, That's putting us in pretty decent position to win a lot of money in the Sunday Million.
It's the table.
So it's not the end of the world, really, if like we got to suck out for a massive pot.
That would not be awful, yeah.
What? Ben read the situation well and just picks it up no showdown. Back over $500,000. All right, let's hear your reasoning for folding the King Jack to 3-bet.
Yeah, just I think it was that thing where I had kind of decent reads on a lot of the table and felt okay against a lot. This guy hadn't. It was his first 3-bet, and I expected a lot of the time him to go bigger with bluffs, because without sizing he'll expect us to peel so often. So yeah, I just decided not to take the spot. I guess I don't think it's going to be that profitable to 4-bet or peel.
I like it. You guys have discipline. I remember when I was watching you play the cash games, Charlie, and you just like folded Ace Jack to a 3-bet. I'm like, wait, you can do that? And you're like, yeah, of course you can do that. What do you mean? I'm like, well, I used to do that, and then all my tournament friends called me a fucking nit bitch. But then I realized that like they didn't have any money, so why was I listening to them? And then I stopped listening to them, and now things have gotten a lot better. Cause like I don't know, like if you play like quite tight, like people might call you a nit, and it's like a sensitive thing. You're like, no, I'm not tight. Like I take chances. And it's like being a good nit just means you play smart. And Greggy actually said himself that the nits are the one who get all the money at the end of the day. So no shame in playing tight and playing selective. And oh my God, passing on a spot where we were getting 4-1 with King Jack out of position against one of the only other stacks who can like put the hurt on us. Like, no thanks. We don't need that.
Yeah, I agree. And if he does just happen to be a fish that likes to 3-bet ace small, we have such bad reverse implied odds. If we flop a king or a jack, it's so hard to fold to 1 or 2 bets.
Yeah.
And we're just putting most of our stack in. We're just in a position where we can still decently boss the table a certain amount.
Yeah. What do you guys get for room service?
I got a steak and I don't know if I guys.
I just got a Thai green curry.
Nice. Thai green curry. I got 2 aces and a guy folding to your C-bet. Lame. Alright. See about Jack 7. Yeah, raise and take. Definitely gonna raise the ace 10 I folded to us. Not the 5. Not the 9-5. Ace again. Someone asked how many times you got ace king in the tournament. I answered 17. Do you think that was close to correct?
I would say he got aces more than ace king, but every time I looked over, it's like, how's it go? Oh my God, he's got it again.
That's the best, those tournaments where you just get AA all day. One of my friend's first final tables was actually, I said like, dude, how'd you do it? And he's like, dude, I just got aces like 12 times on day 3. I'm like, it's a good strategy.
Well, I guess.
All right, so we have a hand that's very eerily similar to a mix between the 10-5 suited, where we peeled the flop with bottom pair, and then the king-queen, where we overshipped the river. I think because of what you guys talked about before, this one's going to be pretty similar. Clunsing could have an 8, though. Let's hear about the overbet again. 1.5x pot, 60% success rate required?
Yeah, I think that, with his stack size, I don't think he opens too many 8x. The ones he does will be like ace-8 suited, which there are only 2 combos of. And I don't, ace-8 suited, if he has like ace-8 of hearts, ace-8 of clubs, the 2 combos, I think a decent amount of the time he's checking back the flop. And other than that, he's just, we can have an 8 so easily. And it's just so hard for him, even if he has like ace-queen, like people don't expect you to be doing this with bluffs, because not many people do. Mm-hmm. It's just, if you have ace-queen here, you need to be right like 40% of the time, and I just don't think he'll expect people to be bluffing 40% of the time here.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those situations where this guy is going to be running quite deep in the million, and This will probably be his deepest million run for a good, 2 months or something. No offense if the guy's watching, but
yeah,
an average person.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to be taking. A lot of people won't want to be taking those marginal spots. They're like, oh yeah, no, I hero called an overbet, and then they just had it, and now I feel dumb for the next 6 weeks until I get another deep run.
Yeah, that's not how you want to bust out. For sure. So we got 700K, but more specifically, we got 35 big blinds. At this point, we're well into the money. Would you guess there are like about 200 people left at this stage?
I'm not completely sure. I'll just do some math quick and say in like a minute.
Okay. These math kids. I was always saying, like, I need a math guy in my life, and step in Ben, sitting there at the table at what was that restaurant called at the Bahamas?
I remember.
Seagrass or something.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was whatever. Charlie's.
I think it's less. I think there'd be a bit over 100 left.
Okay, so about 100 players remain. This is when the big blind is a golden chip, golden and orange. By the way, the review with all the hole cards exposed, I got it with those EPT chips. So
yeah,
it'll look extra good. All right, so we get a flip. Clunks in. Probably thinks he has enough fold equity to get it in with pairs and stuff here. Pocket nines. So we just run it and win it. And there it is. 7-figure stack. Million chip hype.
I think this is gonna make his other hand look a bit better. The Jack 9 one.
The one right here with Jack 9.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. We did it again. Well, Ben, there are going to be a bunch of new people here because we just got... Let's see how many retweets we got on that tweet. We got a bunch. Oh, you guys retweeted the wrong tweet.
Well played, guys.
Oh, we got 13 retweets on that plus 100 new viewers. So there's going to be some new people. So break down the theory behind making these big reships with not so awesome looking hands for us one more time.
Hey, just again that he's got 15 bigs, and I think deep in million, people will still be stealing, but I think with 15 bigs, anything that he is happy getting in, just with his pairs and suited aces and suited broadways, he will just be shoving with 15 bigs. So when he's min raising, it's stuff that he wants to induce with, like queens and maybe not even queens, just like kings and aces, and then all his steals. And I just think that if he has just any decent amount of steals, we're just going to get him to fold enough that it's profitable.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. So we get it through. Bam. Easy game, and we pick up let's see, 115K, which it is only 10% of our stack, but relative to his stack, it's like kind of 33%. So in terms of how much we're risking maximally if we do get called versus the reward we're getting, it's quite significant there. And you got aces.
Yeah,
What a surprise.
always help.
And this guy's all in. What are you going to do? Don't time out. Don't slow roll. Because it's not worth it in real money tournaments. The karma factor is a real thing. Only in home games is slow rolling recommended. And encouraged. No, it's not encouraged.
It is encouraged.
Don't fucking slow roll me tomorrow. I'll wreck you guys. All you people want. You slow roll me on Free Money Friday, you're gonna get it. What do we think Apostolos is open? What do you think this guy's open shoving 20 blinds on the button?
Which end?
It's a lot of chips. Ace Jack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was kind of a bit unsure about this one. Just unsure about his shoving range, not about whether I was calling or not.
Yeah, we snapped.
Yeah, I just snapped him off. But
All right, let's see
it's just, I don't know what he is going to be shoving, what his range is, but it's so rarely going to be with ace queen and ace king. He's going to be, I think, min raising to induce a lot.
Yeah.
And aces, kings, queens, and jacks, they're not just shoving. Like they want us to shove. So I think it's just, small pairs, and then it is just hands we beat, just like the one he shows up with.
And even if it is a pocket pair and you're flipping, it's only for a third of your stack. You still have 40 big blinds after the hand's done if you lose, which is a lot of chips. So you can definitely afford to gamble. Like if you started this hand with like 700K instead of 1.6 million, are you still calling? Obviously not as fast, but are you still probably calling?
I'm still snapping.
Okay.
It just is like,
okay.
When I'm kind of that confident that all the hands, jacks and ace queen plus, that any that have us worse than 50-50 really just aren't doing that. So he can have like deuces and we're basically flipping, but so often he's just gonna have like ace deuce suited or like king jack, and we crush those. So I don't mind having a flip sometimes because a lot of the time we are gonna be crushing. So whatever my stack is here, I'm just snapping.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to bet that if we put a tall shoving range in there, we'd have at least 65%.
Fuck it, let's do it.
No, I shouldn't have said. I meant 60%.
Yeah,
no, I'm not doing it to see if you're right. I'm just saying like let's see what we think he's got. So do we give him all the broadways, all the suited broadways?
No, I'm gonna be in my words pretty quickly right now. Yeah.
I think a lot of the suited and offsuit broadways, and then all suited aces.
Okay. Yeah, because people do that with 20 bigs. They'll put all the pairs and I'll just put a few random suited connectors and
ace 8 off plus, and
yeah.
ace 8 through ace jack plus. Not like he won't be doing it. I don't think he'll be doing it with ace queen off.
And to be nice to Charlie, we'll give him king 9 suited.
Yes.
But we're not going to give him queen 10 off or jack 10 off.
I think 65 seems
55.
I said 60. I went
seems
60.
insanely optimistic.
I went 60.
We'll go 58.
It's more than 50, and like we talked about earlier, if you ever have more than 50% equity, you can put in just about any amount of chips, unless you're dealing with final tables and stuff.
Say 56 or 7.
I'm kind of sweating this one.
Because the delay, you guys haven't seen it. That's sweet. Yeah, you'll get a nice little response there. Ben wins.
No, come on. He got a master's degree. I have no idea what's going on.
What was it?
54.6. And if we give him the jack 10 and the queen 10 off to help Charlie's case, it's only 55.5. But Charlie's a field player. He doesn't need the math.
Oh, that's a pull.
What's 10% here and there?
It's got the fear factor.